Hey everybody, so today I'm going to be using this bike, not bike. I've got this Zero FX on loan from English Electric to do some videos and review on. This video is going to be talking about which bike would I pick between this, the FXS and the FXE. Now I have a review series on the FXS, which is the 11 kilowatt version CBT legal electric, which is basically identical to this, other than the screen's different and it has 17-inch rims with, road tyres. The FXE is kind of like the updated version of that. Again, it's supermoto, the same motor and performance, it's just a cosmetic change really. Oh, I know, I say the screen's changed. And then you got the FX, this one, which has got the updated screen, and it's the full powered version. And of course, this is also an enduro, not supermoto. So we've got the 21-inch front rim and 18 rear, 19. I haven't checked. I really should have checked. It's the enduro setup. Because we have a few things to cover here, I'm going to bracket this off into separate head-to-heads between the bikes. So you've got the 11 kilowatt version versus the A2 version, so CBT versus A2. If I had an A2 or a full license like I do, I would get that version because you can. It's the exact same price, so it's not like a money-saving thing. It is no different. It's the same bike underneath. It's just how it's been digitally tuned as to what power output it's going to produce. But if there was only the 11 kilowatt version, it wouldn't bother me because, as I say, it performs more like a 400 than a 125 equivalent. It's a very different world. So simply, I would go for the more powerful one if it was available to me, but if it wasn't, I would have no issue taking the 11 kilowatt version. And quite often, it's only the 11 kilowatt version that will be available, depending on the model of bike, in the UK. You'll have to see who you speak to. So, FXS versus FXE, so both 11 kilowatt versions, both supermotos. I have a feeling the handling on the FXS was slightly lighter than on the FXE, but they're so close that it's not really much to talk about. I'd have to compare them side by side to really say, and obviously there's a gap between me riding these bikes. But if it was a money no object thing, I would go for the FXE over the FXS just because I really like the look of it. And it's silver, and you don't see many silver bikes, and it just looks really nice, and it's very comfortable as well. It feels like a slightly wider seat on it, to my butt's memory. So then the last one is FX versus FXE. Forgetting the power side, I'm not going to really bring that into it. As I say, I'd go for the more powerful one if I have it available to me. And this is the surprising one, because you probably, if you know me, expecting me to say, yeah, the supermoto, the FXE is the one. I'd actually get this one, the enduro, because the handling on this thing is absolutely fantastic. That 21-inch front wheel really makes it very light, and it's very flickable and agile. I mean, the bike itself weighs about 130 kilos, and also, as you've seen, because I've gone off-road with this thing, it can go anywhere. Now, the supermoto can go anywhere too, but obviously a 21-inch front wheel is better off-road, and normally I'd say, well, I do 95% of my road riding, so I'd rather have a 17-inch rim than a 21, just for those 5% that I go off-road. But no, I'd be very happy to have this as my everyday bike, on the road, as well as the ability to just take it off-road. Okay, so yes, it is a 90-90-21 on the front and a 120-80-18. Okay, so it's an 18, not 19 on the rear. And they are Pirelli Scorpion AT all-terrain. These tyres are brilliant, on-road and off-road. Even in the wet, they actually are pretty good. I will say this, that you have to just accept that when you have these intermediate-ish tyres, that in corners, if you push it, they will start to slide a little bit. Just a little, as each nodule moves over a little bit, it allows the back end of the bike to sort of track sideways. And you can feel it doing it, and you can actually hear it doing it. You hear like a sort of noise. Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant fun. It definitely adds a bit more excitement into the riding experience, when it's a little looser under you. Now, for some people, that sounds terrifying. It's not like it's about to lose it. You can just hear it. I really do like the FXE. It is a great looking bike. I'm not the biggest fan of the front end of it, and equally I'm not the biggest fan of the front end of this one. I kind of like the way the front end on this looks, though, within the looks of the rest of the bike. It's very different looking, it's very angular, it looks like an electric. This is what I love about them, though. It's that just ease of getting off the line. It's a complex one because they're all so similar in ways, but then again they are also different. And I've experienced each one of them quite well, because I think I've had a minimum of 2 weeks on each of them, roughly, over the past couple of years. You know, obviously the FXS was a couple of years ago at this point at least, but I do have a good memory, and I also watch my videos back to refresh my memory and bring me back to that moment of remembering it. And yeah, let's say it's a really tricky one. So yeah, they are different and they're the same, and at this point, I think it's personal preference, which I couldn't say one of them is better than the other one. It's how you interpret it. They're all very much the same, really, in reality underneath. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, smack that like button, subscribe if you're new here, and I'll catch you in the next one.